processes, choosing the right people, but constantly having an eye on the future is what's going to create a resilient and scalable business. That's my planning tool.
All right, so talking about the P's, the product. So I remember Mr. Gandari really contributed in the success of a satellite development project. And there was a lot of planning there. So, Mr. Gandari, talking planning, what's your take?
Well, when it comes to planning, I think it is the key to all success in whatever you do. Okay, yeah. Taking you back to that satellite development program we did well. Most of the work, and we hadn't experienced anything in that field yet. But then with careful planning, when you plan everything to the last inch, right, and you monitor your progress well, right, and with good management, everything is bound for success. And with careful planning, everything is bound for success. Yeah, sure.
All right, in engineering, they talk about project management, designs, and all that. But anyway, let's forget all that. So in terms of keeping your teams well connected, well motivated, what's your most useful tool to empower your team?
I can give you my theory on it because you don't really know how well you are doing in motivating someone until you hear it from the people that are motivated. And it's very easy for me to sit here and say, look what a great leader I am. But in reality, I've hurt careers, I've damaged careers, I've misled people. I've caused harm in my years as a leader. And I think it's very important that this is theory. But people come in many shapes and sizes, colors and varieties, and there's no one size fits all. My experience now, having done this for a little while and made a lot of mistakes, and like anyone, been around leaders that I've been serving who have made equal amounts of mistakes, I think the greatest tool that you can have as a leader is empathy. Now, there's a difference between empathy and sympathy, is empathy. But empathy can get carried away quite quickly if you as a leader are not dead clear on what your objectives are. Now, I have a belief system that can be unpopular, especially with our HR friends. And that is, I come into work every single day being very, very clear on what my major objective is. I took the job in exchange for a salary, so that means I'm selling time or heartbeats for an amount of money to achieve a very clear objective. And that is to make wealth for my shareholders. Principally, that's what I come in to do every day. Why do I do that? Because when you have wealthy shareholders, you never want to work for a poor shareholder. When you work for wealthy shareholders, you have to understand that you will become very jealous when you see how they spend their money. Yes, you agree? You go work for someone and you do 60 hours a week and you really care about their business, and you get a Corolla with no fuel allowance, and he drives away in a Lexus to his private plane. It's very easy to get twisted out of shape, right? So my first and foremost objective is to make sure that I know why I'm there. Number two is, how do I continue to do that over a long period of time? That's creating a business. And number three, the same as my P's, then I look at the people. Why? Because people are necessary. They're a huge part of building businesses. But when you're looking top down with an objective in mind, people are tools. Now this is where it gets unpopular, because it sounds like I'm dehumanizing humans, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
You have to, our head of customer care, Hajune, when she interviewed with us, and I think this is why she got her job, because me and Dan fell in love with her, is that she said, you must be tough on the issues and soft on the people. And this is where objective versus empathy comes in, is that the best way to lead and motivate people is to listen more than you talk to them, and try and understand their point of origin before anything else. I'll give an example. When you're creating high-level customer care in Zimbabwe, okay, have you stayed at a 5-star hotel? Have you stayed at a 5-star hotel? There's a really different experience when you go into a 5-star hotel when you go into a lodge. But if you have never stayed in a 5-star hotel, you still need customer care people to look after your 5-star hotel. But are you willing to pay the customer care staff the same as you are the guest who's staying at the hotel so they understand each other? No, you're not. You can't. Economies won't allow it. So that person who comes and serves at your 5-star hotel or produces high-level customer services in your premium brand, if they go home in a Mashika sharing a Honda Fit with 17 other people, and then have to walk the final 2 miles home in a muddy street to go to a house that might not have a hot shower, and then you're expecting them to arrive in the morning looking like $1 million, happy with life, super eloquent in a language they don't speak naturally, your point of view is a mess. Does that make sense? So if I need this person to perform this role under this cost so we can keep doing it over years, the very first thing I need to do is have a huge amount of empathy as to where that person is coming from. If you go work in an Arab country now and you come from a non-Arab country, the first thing your company should do, the Arab company should do, is I need to help you acclimatize to an Arab world. Make sense? Juma's Friday. This is what happens during these celebrations and holidays. This is what your wife can and cannot do. This is where she can and cannot go. These are the people you can and cannot speak to. You have to show that empathy right from the bottom level all the way to the top level. But empathy is not sympathy. It's got to be guarded by a constant knowing that this is my objective and you are part of the process to me achieving it. Does that make sense?
All right, so this has been a lot on the processes. And you know, when you're talking, you said you'd rather pay someone as much as possible for him to get the job with as much as possible, whatever, be it the motivation, be it the whatever they need to do the job. So talking about processes, what are the key components that make the processes, the good processes that you need in a business for sustainable and scalability?
What are the key, let me understand your question. What are the key processes to make sure you're building a good sustainable business?
Yeah, what are the key components of a good process?
The components of a good process.
Exactly.
I can tell you're an engineer, hey. So the key components of a good process. I am the objective, number one. I'm sure we've seen companies or heard of companies or maybe met people and they tell you their job description and you go, how is someone paying you to do that? The door opener for the door opener in the president's motorcade. Like, who's that dude? Just open the door. Sometimes we can overcomplicate things because we're trying to achieve an objective of human affection rather than the objective. Right? The military is quite clear on this. Objective over the team. Right? And in the civilian world, when we work in companies, we think that's not the case. But it absolutely is. Yeah. Number one component for any good process is eye on the objective. Now the objective changes, right? If I'm asking you, if I'm creating a process to clean the floors in the warehouse, but the major business objective is to sell high-end tiles to Italy, what does the cleaning the warehouse have to do with my Italian client who is not going to meet me? So, but the objective there is order in your warehouse. And then breaking down to have order, we need cleanliness. To have cleanliness, we need, and that cleaner's process will not just include the cleaning of the floor. It will include the management of the mop, the management of the broom, the replacement cycle on the mop, the replacement cycle on the broom. What does he do with his uniform at the end of the day? What does he check for when he's sweeping? Is he looking for cracks in the tiles? Should he report it? See something, say something. So the first component is eye on the objective relative to the role. And then the person who's creating that role or that process, eye on the objective relative to the greater outcome. If you don't start with that, you'll just create a bunch of nonsense, overwhelm yourself with duties and tasks that are irrelevant, and then go from there. Number two, you have to understand who that process is being aimed at. If I said to, let's go back to the customer care example. If I want someone to deal with billionaires at a high level, I've got to be very clear on who I'm writing that process for. Not who by name, who by profile. Okay? So that when I start doing this, as I'm starting writing this profile, I need to consider that the person I'm writing this for, I can make it a slightly more complicated process because they're going to need to come from a slightly more complicated world. You can't take someone at a customer care salary from Econet and say, you're now a billionaire concierge and hope that they will succeed. That makes sense? And the third component is achievability. If one process means that you are going to now have to work 65 hours a week to succeed in one component, you probably haven't thought it out enough. You haven't made it simple enough. It means you probably haven't decomplicated it. Does that make sense? That's not a word, is it? Decomplicated, it's not a word. You haven't brought it to its basic element to make sure it makes sense. McDonald's has brought things to its basic element. A McDonald's server, if I'm correct in this, doesn't have to move more than a meter in any direction to complete their tasks. That's supreme. That's amazing. I've even thought about ergonomically that I can fry a burger. They don't even fry burgers anymore. Have you seen? Have you seen the McDonald's now? There's no burger frying. They come out of a drawer. And they just go, no. You know, even the squirt of mayonnaise is measured and governed for the right recipe. So one squirt is what you put in your Big Mac. But the squirting bottle has 5 nozzles. So it's evenly spread around the burger surface. Bang. So if your process has not been thought about and you are trying to be smart rather than simple, you're going to lose it.
All right, so this is more like a process breakdown structure where you're breaking down the whole process from the core complexity into the, to the bottom level where you have the the very person carrying out the actual task.
Yes.
So I will reiterate it to you, Mr. Kandari. What's your take?
Well, I haven't really given it much thought. So, but basically, I think when planning out you have like you already know what you want to do, right? So basically, what you might need is to break things down, right? When you break things down, you make them as simple as they can get, right? So that you're coming from this, you're going to this, and that makes things simple, and that makes things like in a way that somebody who is going to do it, if it's not going to be you who is going to do it, they're going to know, like they're going to be incorporated into a system where they know they're coming from this point, after this they're going to do this, they're going to do this. It actually makes things simpler and just straightforward.
Okay.
If they're good. If they are good.
If they're good and competent. All right, so if we talk about competence, we are definitely going to talk about teams. So what are the key components that make a good team?
The key components make a good team. There's certain things that I look for, and again, I'll rephrase this. I'll take you back. Is that I came into my professional world with no definition. By all measures, I'd failed. So therefore, having to think really carefully about what I didn't come naturally to me. Because it's not like you've graduated as an accountant and you're thinking, am I going to go into finance or accounts? Am I going to go to, there was no thought that it was, let me figure out exactly what I could do to try. And that journey taught me a lot. So when I first started out, I've done a bit of martial arts and I thought I would be next world champion. That didn't happen. I became a debt collector. in the UK. I did that for the longest period of time.
Oh.
And I started on the phones, making phone calls to local councils for local councils, collecting unpaid taxes or council taxes. And then I went onto the doors when I would be a bailiff, what we call a sheriff here. And I would go knock on doors to execute warrants and clear shops. I did that in energy companies. And then a myriad of different things. I was the operations controller of a dental corporation. I started startups in between everything. So I got exposed to a bunch of different people at different levels, from your local plumber to a general hand, all the way to at some point met one of the heads of the NHS at a meeting, and you got to see them all. Then the most interesting thing happened in 2023. I decided I didn't know enough, and I'm not going back to school. So I forcibly put myself in front of as many CEOs as I could, people I knew or didn't know, and just invited them for a coffee. My hope was that I would learn from them. What actually happened was I got to learn something that was under the surface. And that was the one thing that bound all those 32 men and women already up at the top of their careers, running group-based businesses, was fear.
Fear.
Right?
Okay.
So, how does that answer your question? When I look at teams, there are two. To talk about teams, you need individuals. What do I care about in individuals? You can have the highest pass mark at university. You could have been the top of the pile at school. Your willingness to learn is the most major thing. Someone who's arrogant, someone who is self-seeking, someone who is already showing more pomp than action is someone that immediately doesn't exist on any of my teams. And even in the sales world, where you have to maybe be someone that you're not in order to close a sale with someone that you don't vibe with, there's got to be something that is intrinsically humble and willing to learn. Make sense? Number one. Number two, a work ethic. Those words are chucked around quite a lot. What does work ethic mean to me? The word done only has 4 letters and only one definition: complete. But in our society, as humans, not Zimbabwe, done is, it's done. But I just need to, a high work ethic means that I'm committing to my word being my word. And when I say I'm done, I'm done. That also means that when I'm struggling, I'm going to come and tell you, I've tried these things and I can't make this work. If I spend any more time in trial and error, I will be inefficient. Would you please help me? Brings you back to humble. I'm willing to learn. Make sense? And then a high degree of intention. The people that you choose on your team that build the culture of the team, they have to have those things in my book. There's a wonderful book called Rocket Fuel by a guy called Gino Wickman. And in Rocket Fuel, he gives a small little micro framework as to how you can judge a person from a work perspective. Because I call them tools, but they're still humans. And that's GWC. G, do they get it? Do they understand what we're trying to achieve on the macro side of things, right? So if you go to a line packing deal where my job is to sit with you and you on a conveyor belt, and you're going to put on this component, I'm going to put in this component, and you're going to put that component, and then it goes to some people we don't know, another conveyor. I get that my job is to be accurate in putting this piece in. But to really get it, I have to understand what this component is going to be a part of later, as to why this is important. Someone's willingness to learn that, because you can't teach it all, is important. So do you get it? Then the other question is, do you want it?
Do you want it?
Now, plenty of people do jobs they don't want because they need to do the job. Make sense? My gardener is the most wonderful guy. I have so much respect for him. When I first interviewed him, he's young, got a little young family. He's learning English as much as he's learning English from nothing. And I've got huge respect for someone willing to step in that world. And when I interviewed him, he said these words to me: "Boss, I could be a very good gardener, but it's not what I want to do with my life. So I will work incredibly hard for you, to do these, and I'll learn to learn the flowers and the cars and everything. But please, if I come work for you, please tell me that you'll help me stop being a gardener.
Oh,
And then with immediate effect, you're like, done. Come, I don't care if you don't know anything about gardening. I really want you on my team. So having that willingness to make those decisions. Do I want it? I don't want to be a gardener, but I want an opportunity, and I'm going to work hard at this opportunity I've been given so I can launch my next move. Make sense? Get it, want it. In the event that you can find someone who actually wants to do that job, and that's amazing. That's the golden tier of that pillar. And then finally is number C, letter C, which is the capability to do it.
Capability to do it.
Right? I really get what Elon Musk is doing. I really want what he's doing. I have no capability to go to Mars. Do you know what I mean? And you see that a great deal, right? I really get what it is to be famous. I really want to be famous. Do you actually have the capability of becoming famous now in the way you want to be? And if you bring it down to a staff member and to a team, the culture of the team is made up of its components and its leader. The very first thing we need to do is ask those questions of ourselves as the leader, because those answers will now mean how you judge others on their answers and how you deal with that. If I'm a leader that's constantly riddled by fear, what do you think my team is going to be?
Fearful.
And if I am a fearful leader, do you think I'm going to choose gunfighters in my team? Or am I going to drive the people I hire or add to the team to lend itself so that I always stay on top, which means that am I intentionally going to put weak people in my team because I'm scared of some of them rising above me? So number one, you want to build a good team? Be a good leader, straight away. And the start of being a good leader, and don't read all the books until you've done this exercise. Until you have understood that what it is to be by yourself, because leadership's lonely. What are you afraid of? You can't not be afraid. But courage is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to move regardless. I believe that every fear should get a name and get a box in your life. And the less, maybe it starts a big box, but over time, the more you understand it, and every time it pops up, you go, back in the box. That box will slowly become smaller because it will diminish. Does that make sense? I joke a lot and say, I'm afraid of no man, just one woman, my wife. I'm terrified of her. And I think every leader needs to take authority over that. And then be able to teach, coach, and identify the GWC in the team around you. Hiring weak people to keep you strong is a fool's game that we see play out all too often. Makes sense? I'm sure you've seen it all the way from growing up to school. There's teachers who had too much authority but not enough ability. We all had them, right?
Yeah.
And the moment some cocky teenager went, no, sir, I'm not going to do that, they cried or ran away or resigned or beat you, whatever they did. We've got to be the better version of that.